Para mí, 100% que están intentando sabotear su manifestación.
So I'm shocked. I have been going to the UK for 10 years. I lived there for 2 years. I never had a problem with them. The police never once in all my travels there gave me any trouble. But Keir Starmer and his government clearly are terrified of any voices that oppose their policies.
Bueno, yo la verdad que no entiendo qué he hecho para que me censuren así.
En el Reino Unido estalló una nueva controversia después de que se reportara la cancelación del permiso electrónico de entrada al país a figuras vinculadas a eventos de la derecha, junto antes de las elecciones locales y de actividades relacionadas con el activista británico Tommy Robinson. Lo que estamos viendo es el uso del aparato del Estado para limitar voces incómodas, porque esto ocurre en un momento donde Europa vive una crisis profunda, inmigración masiva, inseguridad, islamismo radical, crisis económica y una creciente rebelión de votantes cansados de las élites políticas tradicionales. Y es que cuando la izquierda siente que pierde apoyo popular, recurre a la censura y persecución institucional para controlar el debate público. Y hoy vamos a hablar de todo esto con dos de las víctimas de este sistema censor a los que les han retirado el permiso para entrar en Gran Bretaña. Ada Judge y YOEY MANNANIRO, dos fuertes voces, ¿no?, del movimiento conservador internacional y que están moviéndose por todos los países, haciéndose un grandísimo trabajo y que hace un año estuvieron en Gran Bretaña liderando una manifestación con Tommy Robinson en contra de la inmigración ilegal, ¿no? Pues ahora el primer ministro Keir Starmer te recibe una notificación donde se les informa que se les prohibió el ingreso al país. Esto ha sido una decisión de Starmer y esto ocurre luego de que ambos participaran en esa manifestación que he citado con Tommy Robinson. ¿Qué tal se encuentran? ¿Qué tal,
Hola,
Ada? ¿Cómo
buenas.
estás? Joy.
Muy bien.
Bueno, ¿cómo te has sentido cuando has recibido este bloqueo para entrar en Gran Bretaña?
A ver, a mí sinceramente me sorprendió muchísimo porque, como has dicho, el año pasado hablé en la manifestación de Tommy Robinson y a mí en ningún momento se me retiró la visa para entrar. Se llama JETA, es como una visa provisional. Entonces, yo volví a Londres 2 veces, hablé en otra manifestación este febrero en Manchester, también a favor de la remigración y en contra del gobierno de Starmer, y a mí no se me quitó la visa. No fue hasta esta semana, 2 días después de que yo escribiera a Tommy y confirmara mi presencia en esta manifestación que va a pasar el 16 de mayo. O sea, para mí, 100% que están intentando sabotear su manifestación.
Joey, how do you feel after being banned in UK?
So I'm shocked. I have been going to the UK for 10 years. I lived there for 2 years. I never had a problem with them. The police never once in all my travels there gave me any trouble. I think have spoken at about 5 or 6 different events this year alone in the UK on this electronic travel authorization. So I was shocked when I saw this because I always thought being an American citizen, there was some level of mutual respect from the United Kingdom to United States citizens. Because obviously we do have freedom of speech. We have a government that respects our freedom of speech under Donald Trump. Now, apparently, the United Kingdom feels so bold and so empowered with their new Starmer government that they're banning not only European activists, but American citizens from entering their country. And I hope that this is not going to be an issue that continues, and we're not going to see many more conservatives banned. But Keir Starmer and his government clearly are terrified of any voices that oppose their policies. And it just says more about them than it says about anything else.
Porque, Ada, ¿qué es lo incómodo de tu mensaje? ¿Qué estás contando de Gran Bretaña que el primer ministro británico no quiere que cuentes? ¿Qué estás haciendo? O sea, ¿por qué eres tan peligrosa para los intereses de los partidos acomplejados de la derecha, Ada?
La verdad es que me gustaría realmente entender por qué me encuentran una persona peligrosa y no grata. Yo simplemente lo que digo y lo reitero es que yo quiero que Europa sea un continente con países seguros, donde la gente que vive en Europa sea gente europea, donde las mujeres puedan andar por la calle sin tener que temer a nada. Y básicamente reivindico un poco ese renacer de nuestra cultura que estamos perdiendo, pues por tener las fronteras abiertas. No he dicho nada del otro mundo, yo no he insultado a nadie, Tampoco he hablado tan mal del Islam, no. Hablo de los extranjeros, pero tampoco no estoy hablando del Islam directamente como para que me censuren de esta forma. Yo la verdad que no entiendo qué he hecho para que me censuren así.
Joey, why your speech is so harmful for the interests of Starmer and the interests of the some political parties in UK? What are you telling? What are you telling the audience about the situation of United Kingdom?
What I've always said when I've been over there is I've spoke about the issues that mass migration is bringing to their nation, mass unchecked migration, that they come over on boats from France, they go into the country and nobody knows who they are. So that's an issue. And if you look at who is committing crime in the United Kingdom, it is largely coming from people who are there illegally and refuse to assimilate to their culture. So I brought this up. I talked about the problems with a certain religion that happens to be very prevalent in the crime statistics lately. We've seen Tommy Robinson expose the grooming gangs, and this was not a grooming gang that had multiple religions. It was a singular religion, and really that is an issue in the country that needs to be talked about. I didn't know the United Kingdom now apparently has blasphemy laws like Turkey or the United Arab Emirates. We've apparently gotten to the point where you cannot freely talk about differences within religion anymore without being banned from the country. So I really think that that's the issue they have with my message. And I'll tell you though, I will be applying for a visa because I want them to give me in writing the reasons that they banned me, because all they've told us so far is you are not conducive to the public good, which is funny because the things that they do consider conducive to the public good are destroying their country. So I look forward to their response if they do reject that visa in the future. So I know exactly what they are now considering illegal, because I never committed a crime in any country. So I really am curious about their reason.
And do you think that the kings of United Kingdom are involved in this situation? Because they came to visit President Trump, they had a very beautiful ceremony, or they are completely outside from the government? You can have their support. What do you think?
The royal family, I think, has stayed out of politics for a while now, to their detriment, because they've allowed the United Kingdom to become a country that's unrecognizable. I've always said that if the King of England had any common sense, he would dissolve this parliament because it's going against every value that the British people have considered their own. But they don't do that. They continue to allow this government to do whatever they want. And I truly do believe that in the upcoming election that will happen, hopefully sooner than 2029, for the sake of the British people, this government will be thrown out of office. If you remember, they were not voted in because they were so popular with their ideas. They were voted in because the previous government that had been there for 14 years became so unpopular. And this was the only other option. But now they have Nigel Farage, they have Rupert Lowe, they have a variety of other options that they can now look to and replace this treasonous, treacherous Labour government with something that actually represents their people.